Hey guys, welcome to another Creative Tap tutorial. Now in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to blur or pixelate a face inside of After Effects. So we'll be working with this simple piece of footage, and this is a version where I've just pixelated it, and then there's a version where I've blurred it like so as well. So if you have someone you want to kind of blur in your footage, this is the way we'll be doing it. Now the footage that I've got is from a website called Pexels, and it's called, I think it's Man Texting on Phone. So the link to this is in the description below, so just click that link and then you can download it royalty free. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the top 3 layers, and this is what we're going to start with. So once you've imported your text, you can go File, Import to import it, and then click File and then navigate to where it is. And then once you've got it in here, all you need to do is, let me just delete this composition, is you'll have your text in here and you just drag it down to this little icon by here, and your text will be in here. So what you want to do first is we want to motion track this guy's face, because we need to make sure that when we draw a mask around it to blur that area, we need to make sure it follows. So if you scroll down to your tracker, and if you can't see this, just go to Window and then make sure Tracker is ticked in there. I think there it is. What we want to do is click Track Motion, and you want to turn on rotation and scale as well. So let's zoom into his face, because this is his face we're concerned about. So we'll move this tracking point to this bit of his glasses, and maybe come a bit wider, like so. And then we'll go to this point of his glasses, and again come a little bit wider. Okay, now what we want to do is click this Track for Analyze Forward button. So what the software is going to do now is track these bits of his glasses all the way through until it gets to just above 8 seconds. And what this is going to enable us to do is we can then simply draw a mask on an adjustment layer, add a blur, and then it'll follow along. Okay, so it'll just take a little while to do that, and it doesn't need to be the most accurate of tracks for this. There are other tracking videos on the channel where I show you how to get more accurate tracks and how to sort of improve them. But anyway, we'll just wait for this to go now and we'll be done. Excellent. So we've got this tracking data. What we want to do is create a new null object. So if I right click just in this empty area, or go to Layer, New Null, or like I said, you could right click to go to New and then Null. And all this is a blank layer. Okay, so we want to come back across to Edit Target, and we want to make sure Null 2 is selected, and you can rename that if you want to tracking data. So right click, rename tracking data. Okay, and then we want to keep it selected and hit apply, and then to the X and the Y. So that data is now applied to this null, this sort of null object, this blank square follows along, and that won't be rendered. Now, what we want to do is we want to make a new adjustment layer. So new, click new adjustment layer, and we want to draw an elliptical mask around his face. Okay, so just something like that, and I may come in and modify the points, just bring them out a bit. It doesn't matter, this overlapping doesn't actually need to be tight to his face, as long as as long as it's just covering his whole face like so. Okay, so I'll do something like this, and then next thing we want to do is we want to get this pick whip by here. And if you can't see that pick whip, you may need to click toggle switches, but I'm going to click and drag to link this to the tracking data. So now what will happen is this mask will follow along with his face, and it does go off a little bit of his hair by there. So what we'll do is we'll come down into the mask and come to the mask path, come to the beginning where it fits, set a keyframe, come to 4 seconds where it's gone a bit off, and we'll just drag these points just so it does cover his face, and we'll check that it covers by here. We can drag them down a little bit. Yeah, so it mostly follows like that, and then just come through just to make sure this could be lined up a little better by here. There we go. And let's come to the end, move it back a little bit. Great, and just click through. Yeah, I think that's fine. So all we need to do now is I'll show you the pixelate version and the blur version. So first of all, I'll apply a fast blur to this adjustment layer, and if I chuck this up to, let's say, 65 and hit enter, if I click off this layer so you don't see this line, you can see it's quite a harsh line. So we'll come back to the adjustment layer, hit M twice, and we'll feather this mask by, let's say, 50. And we may also want to increase the mask expansion to 50 as well, because you can just see a little bit of the edge there. And then what will happen is throughout the shot, this will follow him. Maybe the mask expansion can come to 30. Yeah. And yeah, so this will follow him throughout. Now that's simply how you blur it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select this adjustment layer, hit Command or Control D, which will duplicate it. We'll turn the bottom one off. We'll rename it to blur. Now with this one, this top one, we'll come and delete the fast blur because we want to add a different effect for the pixelation effect. So we'll type in the effects and presets, mosaic, drag that onto the top one, and then we'll go maybe 50 by 50, and then we've got this mosaic effect, and you've got the same feather effects going on, and the mask expansion is the same because we duplicated the layer. So we'll just rename this to pixelation. Okay, so you've got two different versions now, and this again follows along because it's pick whipped to the tracking data. So you can do absolutely anything with this. If you didn't want the mosaic and you wanted to just maybe have a sort of, maybe just brighten the area where his face is, you can drag a curves on and it'll do that. And so you've got that tracked. So it's any effect really. But yeah, that's all I'm going to cover for this one. So I hope you kind of learned a few new things, and I hope to see you in another tutorial. Cheers.